Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm super pumped for this video for two things. One, I've been waiting for my new brake setup from Counterspace Garage. And two, I'm not gonna really show yet because for another video, but I will introduce it in this video. And this is a prototype. It's been about 10 weeks for them to build it and send it out to me. We'll go over that at the end of this video. But we have Sebring in 5 days, and then we're going to Grid Life. The reason why I'm going to Sebring is because I benchmark everything. I do all my testing there. It's my home track. And if you've been following me, the last two track days at the firm for the time trials, I've been fighting the car too much. And mainly, I believe it's with the new sway bars we put on the car. I believe they're just too stiff. At Sebring, the car is very predictable. It's neutral. It does what I want it, and it does it well. And when I feel the confidence and I know the car, I can push it harder and harder and drive it right there at the limit. We switched the sway bars. We went thicker because I went with the slicks. The reasons why I went with the slicks because my RE71s were just too wide and I was supposed to be in a TT4 class. So because they wanted to put me in a TT4, I was like, no, we need to change up the tires. So that's when we went with the Hoosiers. I enjoyed the white line sway bars over the stock ones. There was about a 4-second improvement at Sebring. Now again, it's not all just the sway bars. I know seat time, I was able to push the car a little bit more and with the help of the sway bars. So I know they played a role in going faster. I just don't know how much. So I got to thinking, if the white lines improved my time that much, what if we went thicker or stiffer? Because now we got the Hoosiers, now we got more grip. Maybe I can get more bar in there. And it just wasn't the case, at least not here at the firm. So we're gonna be swapping the new Counterspace Garage pads over the Hawk setup, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. Changing the oil, because I got 2 back-to-back events. Again, Sebring, and then we're going to CNP. So Sebring Friday, Saturday I'm going to South Carolina to run with Sebring, or to run with Grid Life on Sunday. I wish I could do the whole kind of Club TR deal with scheduling and work. We just couldn't make it happen. So we're at least gonna go out there on a Sunday. So we got some stuff from Summit, which I didn't know Summit sold this. I actually found out from a buddy of mine. I don't do a whole lot of oil testing, and I probably should just for my own knowledge and to see, what's going on down there. So I'm always going between AMSOIL, which I hear a lot of good stuff about, and I've been running it in my car just because I can get it so close. And then I always go from that to the mold tool. And I really package this stuff in there, which is good. When I'm not running the AMSOIL stuff, we run the 300V, the mold tool. We're running the 530 here. We got back-to-back track days. And this is just a smaller container. I run with the oil cooler, about 6 quarts in this car. Pretty neat. I like that oil slick sticker. But we're gonna be swapping over to a new brake compound. I'm still on stock calipers and rotors. So we reached out with them because these are like the go-to for your kind of your brake setup and really for the majority of anything kind of GR related or BRZ. I went with, based off of a couple guys I've been talking to at the track, what they recommend, and they said, you know, reach out to them. So sent them an email, we're chatting back and forth. I told them kind of what I'm doing with the car, what the current setup is now, and what they recommend. So we're going with the new, well, not really new, but the C21s in the front and the C11s in the rear over the Hawk DCT 30s and the HP Pluses in the rear. Now, I will say, no complaints with the brake setup where it's at now. But this is kind of like your entry level kind of track pad setup, so I'm told. It did everything I wanted at Sebring. Sebring is not really hard on the brakes. Turn 7, it gets a little tight. But other than that, it's not bad. All right, now that the car's up in the air, I'm gonna try to get you guys up to speed. So my original goal with this car was to go sub 230 at Sebring, and that was on a 200 treadwear tire. So far, I've gone a 233 on the RE71 RS with about 4 or 5 laps. That was it. That day we had some braking trouble when I actually had to swap over to new pads. So I'm hoping with the car as is, how it's sitting, without running the Hoosiers, we can get that. So I don't know, let's see. All right, so we got the wheel and tire off. Let's take a better look at the brakes. I'm also swapping over to new rotors. I've already cleaned them, I've had them, I keep them for spares. So these are the rear. The C11s. C21. All right, to do this, you're gonna need a 14 millimeter and a 19 millimeter, either wrench or socket. Down here. These are going to be somewhat kind of snug until you get the majority of it out. I use Loctite on these. Good thing for a little bit of some brake grease in here, and it makes that rotor come right off. All right, take a closer look. We're gonna be making the adjustments there. Got the zip tied out of the way. Let's take a better look at the rotor. All these little cracks here, I'm not really worried about. Can't really feel anything with the fingernail. But I am curious though, I wonder what happened here at the end of this pad. This is the inside pad. That's the new one, the new rotor. Alright, remove that nut, pull this back. slide it forward. I don't know if I'll be able to make this. No. I'm gonna have to do the other side, and then we can actually lift up the sway bar and just push this in. Might make it, I don't know. Nah, I don't like the angle. So yeah, we're gonna do the other side, and we'll, like I said, lift it up, push it in. Alright, now that the rotor's on, make sure it's clean, Loctite. We'll put the pads in now. Alright, now that the rotor and caliper and pads are on, we'll jump to the other side. Alright, now that we got that side done, there we go. Just didn't have the right angle. But it's in, sop this hole. And because we're going back to Sebring, we're putting the RE71 RSs back on. And I just date it. Oh, and really quick, I don't think I gave an update on the actual pan and oil pressure and stuff. Again, this was at the firm. I didn't see any issues at all. I didn't really see any dips or concerns. At the firm, really turn 10 into 1 is a kind of long right-hander. I didn't see anything that would think that the baffle plate wasn't working. Again, it was wet. We really weren't pushing it. The temps didn't really get that high, so not the best test. Again, a lot of the testing would be at Sebring. So no leaks, changing oil, nothing was wet, anything like that, so that's good. The stuff is sealing the way it should be. If you did what I said, you should be good with putting the pan on. Wow, that is some really, really clean transmission fluid. Even though it's really clean, got quite a bit of shavings, but no chunks, nothing really serious. I actually like the AMSOIL over the mold tool for the transmission fluid, and now we're actually going to try out the red line just to see how that is on track. Now this was at one time it was the drain for the transmission mount, and if you see, it has a tiny little magnet which really doesn't do a whole lot. I mean, if I move it too fast, it just falls right off. The super magnet is strong enough to hold it. And it takes some effort to pull it off, where this, I mean, this ain't doing anything. So I use it as the fill. Alright, oil's done, transmission fluid is done, rear brakes, rear sway bar adjustment, and we're done. Now the rear is going to be easy, we're just doing a pad swap. The rotor, I think, has 1 or 2 track days, and the second track day was raining, so they didn't even get used up. These are the rear. As you can tell, plenty of life still. No issues on the back. But we're still gonna compare. And that's it for the rears. We'll knock out passenger side and call it a day. All right, wheels are on. Now we just have to adjust this guy here. We're gonna take it all the way out to the last hole. But I think to do that, I'm going to take the actual end link and slide it further out. So there's a spacer here and here. So I'm going to put both of them on this side and throw that here. Maybe, I don't know, it might hit the top of this. So I don't know, we're going to see, but we're just going to take this and move it in that hole. But now that I'm looking at it, if I go too far over, it might hit the top in here. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, so we have to loosen up the bolt that holds the coilover, and then we'll loosen this up, because if this is still too tight, this won't come loose. And my goal is to loosen this up, put it in that third hole, and then find the best spot here. If I have to shorten the end link or move it in a different hole, that's the plan right now. we're done. Front, full soft, rear, full soft, new brakes all the way around, new fluid. We're just gonna bed the brakes. Also, one more thing that I'm gonna do when I start tracking the car is running some Ignite racing fuel. Now, I'm only doing this while I'm on the track. As we start to push these cars harder and harder for 20, 30 minutes, it's just peace of mind. It's some insurance. I'm not looking for more power, just some safety. Now, not to really get into it, but E85 is 85% ethanol and 15% of what? We don't know what they're putting in here. You gotta denature it. It could be chocolate milk for all I know. At the pump. Not really, but we just don't know, and it's probably crap, and that's the crap that's, you know, clogging up injectors, being corrosive, absorbing the water. This stuff can't really do that. It's basically 200% alcohol. It's going to clean it. That's why when you look at, you know, your exhaust and stuff, it's super clean. One thing I love about it, it grows out of the ground. Why we don't push this stuff more, like the EPA and stuff, I don't know, but that's for another video with the scientists or something down the road. I'm just using it for the track. I'll still run pump E85 for the street. All right, so I basically said there's something I was gonna show you at the end of this video, and that's in that box right there. And I'm gonna leave you off with this. You're gonna have to stay tuned for the next video. Thanks for watching.